uh, 7 by the National Institutional Ranking Framework 2022 under the stewardship of a dynamic and visionary principal, Professor Gyantosh Kumar Jha. So ARSD College has been pertinent in providing its students with a platform to hone not only their academic skills but also life skills. So before we begin, let me brief you guys about the speaker, Kashish Kapoor, who's an engaging content creator over various social media platforms, including his YouTube channel, 10-Minute Finance, in the niche of personal finance, investing, and financial independence. He's produced some digital assets like the Financial Independence Calculator, the Fundamental Analysis Excel sheet to simplify finance for individuals. So over to you, Kashish. Let's begin.
Hi Deep. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Perfect. Thank you Deep for having me. Thank you FIC ARSG for having me. I am excited, and just a bit more about me. I currently work at Wealth Desk in the partnerships and content end of things. And today's session is going to be about how to build a career in equity research. So let me just share my screen and maybe we can start. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible, right?
Yeah, it is visible.
Perfect. So, guys, when I decided, right, ki I'll give this session on building a career in equity research, and I started, jotting my thoughts down and preparing for this presentation, मुझे लगा कि whatever I'm coming up with, it can somewhat be replicated by an individual to build a career in finance in general. So I decided कि okay, maybe this session won't just be restricted to equity research. हम like पूरे financial space की बात कर पाएंगे by following what has worked for me and is also replicable by a lot of people if they stick to it religiously. Few things about this session. It will not be any longer than 30-40 minutes followed by, let's say, a Q&A. And I thank you for coming on this Sunday afternoon at 12, which basically speaks two things. Either your friends at FIC were smart enough to convince you कि boss अच्छा session होगा आ जाओ, or you really are interested about finance and equity research. Either way, I'll make sure ki boss, I'll do justice to your these 30-40 minutes, and you have some key takeaways from the session. So, and also, in case you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to type them down in the chat box. I will not be answering them through the session, but in the end, I'll take them up eventually. Moving on, right? So the very first thing that we've got to understand is ki, what are finance jobs? If you see, right, finance ke andar, there are a lot of, I'd say, niches that a person can excel in, a person can build their career in, but a good chunk of these terms or these job responsibilities or these job descriptions or profiles itself look very fascinating, and bahar se we get this fancy look ki boss, let's say if you're working in private equity, you're making shit ton of money, or finding your way into a venture capital fund is something that is very prestigious. But like even I was at this stage when I was in, I don't know, grade second year third year mein mujhe bhi exactly yahi lagta tha ki maybe that is the case. But now that I've started working in the industry, right, I've realized ki honestly these are just fancy names to come up with different responsibilities, but at the same time fundamentally all the finance jobs, right, they have few very common fundamental things. And if we as freshers, if we as people who are trying to build a career in finance, agar hum wo cheezon ko crack kar lete hain, we'll be able to build a career in any of these niches. The only difference would be ki maybe there's a tweak here, there's a tweak there. So all in all, if we talk about private equity, investment banking, buy side, sell side, mutual fund, investment banking, mergers and acquisition, all of these are fundamentally the same, and just that the end client might differ or your responsibilities might tweak a bit, but in the end आपको काम एक ही करना है. Which is why this session that I have made, इसमें a lot of things that I'll say will be replicable across all these streams of financial jobs that you can take up. So don't restrict yourself, boss, कि मेरे को अगर investment banking में जाना है, maybe this is the set of things that I've got to do. Actually, you can follow the steps that I mentioned here across any of these, and this will allow your profile or your CV to be much more versatile when it comes to applying for jobs, because then you will not be limiting yourself in any possible way when it comes to job applications. And in the end, you must realize this one thing as well, ki if you completely rely on the placement cell of your college to get yourself placed, then you have a very, I'd say, wrong mindset here. I myself was president of placement cell of my college, and being the president, I insisted my friends, my colleagues, my seniors ki boss, placement cell आपकी जितनी help कर सकता है करेगा. But in the end, you have got to get yourself that best opportunity, and that can only come if you are from a tier 2 college through off campus placements. Because ranks obviously do matter. ARSD is ranked 7th, as Deep currently mentioned, but some premium institutes, some premium, I'd say, companies and corporates primarily hire from these tier 1 colleges. If you are not fortunate enough to be one of them, then obviously in this race you're not at par with them. But that doesn't mean कि आप सिर्फ on campus में आपकी opportunities नहीं आ रही, you restrict yourself, because then off campus is the place to be. And honestly speaking, even if let's say, a couple of companies that are solely coming to, let's say, SRCC, Saint Stephen or CBS of the world, वहां पे भी वो एक तरह से campus hiring ही कर रही है. If you want to land yourself a job that is extremely unique and I'd say very, very rewarding, off campus is the place to be. Because I've also personally seen a good chunk of my, let's say, SRCC friends applying for on campus opportunities. They're happy and they're at the best position they can be. But then again, I also know a lot of my tier 2 college or tier 3 college friends जो off campus opportunities से अपने लिए ऐसी companies convert कर दी जो even tier 1 college students couldn't have. Because these companies do not go out looking for mass hiring. They don't go to a specific college कि हाँ हमने 10 12 13 बंदे उठाने हैं. That doesn't happen. These very niche profiles ki hiring does not become public. You've got to find these opportunities yourself and make sure that you're employable in these opportunities, and that is a very good start to your career. And that is exactly what I'll try to communicate ki how can you do that. Even my job currently here, I was at matlab isse pehle I was supposed to join Tresvista. Okay, Tresvista is a good employer. It hires a lot of students from across DU colleges, be it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. But then again, in the end, Tresvista ki jo job profile thi, no doubt a very good starting point for somebody who wants to get into, let's say, finance. That wasn't unique per se, because then again DU se unhone 100 plus बच्चा उठाया था. Do you want to be part of that 100 plus people? All fine with you, and it is a good start, no doubt. But then again, if you really want to create that mark for a tier 2 student, it's best you actively proactively look for these off campus opportunities. And जो ये आप यहाँ देख रहे हो, right, M&A, venture capital, hedge fund, tier 1 colleges में भी नहीं आती. The only way you can land yourself there is through your own personal hard work through off campus opportunities. Moving on, अब हमें समझ आ गया कि how should we approach building a career in finance, and why maybe on campus opportunities though are adequate for you to start a good career but may not be the best option out there. What you should do to get a job in finance. So after giving a lot of thought, I came to a conclusion कि boss सिर्फ ये 3-4 चीजें हैं जो important है. Accounting knowledge, मतलब you should have basic accounting knowledge, and that just accounts for 5% of your success in the industry. And when I say accounting, I don't necessarily mean boss कि cost accounting, management accounting, corporate accounting का आपको हर एक concept आना चाहिए. What I'm saying is, if you are very well thorough with what you were taught in, let's say, grade 11 and 12, the very basics of accounting concepts, right, you will definitely do well in a financial job. This is the reason why you would see a lot of engineers actually taking up jobs in M&A. Why? They were never taught, let's say, accounting in grade 11, 12 or their graduation, but still they'll be able to crack that process, because accounting itself does not sort of accounting itself does not take a lot of your employer's decision making कि बस अगर इसको accounting आती है मैं तभी इसको लूंगा. Accounting being one, and then finance and Excel being second. Excel is also very important, no doubt, but it's not that you have to be an Excel maestro to get that job. Knowing the very basic functions of how Excel work, knowing those shortcuts are more than enough. Same same is the case with, let's say, finance. Even financial knowledge for a finance job does not really make that big a deal. Why? Because finance, maybe you just need to know these very few fundamental concepts of finance, of corporate finance. Maybe what's a DCF, what's NPV, IRR, dividend decisions, financial decisions, etc. Capital investing decisions. जो ये बहुत basic से concepts of finance ke, you should be very well thorough with this. And this will be the basic hygiene check for you. If you know basic accounting, basic finance, basic Excel, you have a chance at getting a finance job. But for you to actually make a mark in the impression, in the mind of, that employer or that interviewer, this is very important. Your inquisitiveness. What do I mean by that? Finance jobs may, majority of your work, majority of it, be it across investment banking, M&A, equity research, kuch bhi ho, it will be you finding good opportunities to invest in. As simple as that. For you to do that, you should be a very inquisitive guy. What do I mean by inquisitive guy? You should be ready, willing, and willing to do the hard work to ask the right questions over and over again when you're trying to understand something. I'll, go a bit deeper into it in my next coming slides, but inquisitiveness is actually what makes that difference. And the fourth equally important part is this question mark. एक और चीज है जो बहुत ही important है, and that is referrals. As a fresher, referrals are going to be your best friend. You will not be able to prove your metal. You will not be able to prove how knowledgeable who you are, how employable you are, till the time you do not get the chance to sit in that interview. And boss, आपको कोई भी hedge fund, venture capital fund, private equity fund, कोई भी आपको interview नहीं देगा till the time you don't have a referral. You can maybe get a chance if you have a good brand associated to you. If you are an SSCC or CBS ka child, maybe you'll get that opportunity to sit in that interview. Your job throughout this whole process should be at least first get to that interview round. Uske baad ka to ho jayega. If you're knowledgeable, if you do the hard work, you will get that. But the very first step is something where it's not in your hands. Getting a referral becomes very important. And this is where a good chunk of people sort of give up. A lot of people think that the system is rigged against them, which is a very wrong way of viewing at things. If you know for a fact कि boss बिना referral के मेरा कुछ नहीं होगा, it is important you start working towards it. And the plan of action that I have laid down aage, this will ensure that you get these referrals too. Personally speaking, I have seen a lot of my friends, very knowledgeable, very hard work, still not reaching their true potential when it comes to starting their career, solely because they did not have a good network. Maybe their parents worked in that tier 2 tier 3 cities, unka koi corporate network nahi tha, neither did they proactively did themselves anything to build that network and ask those referrals. वो सिर्फ on campus opportunities के सहारे रहे, did not do anything else, and ended up being at a place where they're contented but not fully happy because they know for a fact that उनका potential वो reach नहीं कर पाए. वही चीज को ब्रेक करने के लिए आई थिंक द थिंग्स दैट आई मेंशनड आगे विल डेफिनेटली हेल्प यू. नाउ कम्स कि बॉस व्हाट टू डू, करना क्या है. एंड I'll highly advise all these people on the call here, if you can maybe open your laptop as well, because the steps that I'll mention, maybe you can do those side by side and you'll sort of learn and you'll sort of better understand what I'm trying to communicate. So what to do mein, plan of action is very simple. Input में आपके 90 minutes a day, आपको सिर्फ 90 minutes देने हैं अपने दिन के for 30 continuous days. आपको सिर्फ 30 दिन की मेहनत करनी है. If you dedicate 30 continuous days, 90 minutes a day, you will be able to build a proof of work, which I'll explain what is. You will have a very good chance at a referral. And then obviously you'll be way more knowledgeable than you were 30 days back. इसके साथ ही साथ we also need you to be extremely inquisitive. And I'll explain ki what do I mean by this word, and obviously an internet connection and a laptop. By putting these inputs, I can genuinely guarantee ki you will see at least some results when it comes to building your proof of work, chance at a referral, and knowledge. What do I mean by proof of work? Now, this is very important, right? I've seen a lot of people who are very hardworking and they're willing to do the hard work, right? उसके लिए वो क्या करते हैं? वो ना internships करते हैं. And honestly, even I've been through that, where freshers, especially undergrad freshers, do not get even a single opportunity to intern at a good firm under the finance role. No chance. Openly to kabhi hoga hi nahi. Unless obviously you have someone in your network helping you, you will never get a chance. So you're like, what's the proof of work that you can show to your potential employer? For most of us, it is an internship certificate. Ki boss, I interned there. This is the मैंने अपने LinkedIn profile में लिख दिया कि okay, I did this, I did this. This is my proof of work. This proof of work sort of worked well, maybe some time back. But now you've got to be innovative when you're building this proof of work. प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क का मतलब सिंपल है कि यू हैव डन सम वर्क, you have something as proof to show to your employer. An internship certificate may be a good start to it, but then again, that's not where your proof of work should end. You should build your portfolio about anything. Let me give an example, छोटा सा example here. If you, let's say, participated in a competition, there are a lot of B school competitions that happen, consulting से related था, finance से related था, maybe you build an Excel over there, or maybe you prepared a presentation. If you submitted that, save it, उसको एक Google Drive पे upload करो, and उस Google Drive का link अपने CV में डाल दो, so that whenever any employer of yours, is going through your CV, they have that link. If they click on it, they have the portfolio of work that you've done. That is the proof of work. Internship certificates लेना आसान है, but building that proof of work बहुत मुश्किल है. And honestly, you can continue building this proof of work even if you're not, let's say, participating in a competition, you're not doing any internship. You can continue building this proof of work. This is why I really love this concept of building this, because यहाँ पे you do not depend on anybody. You do not have to depend on the mercy of a employer कि boss मुझे internship दे देंगे, या फिर कोई अगर competition आ रहा है 1-2 महीने में. You can if you do 30 days of genuine work, you will build a good proof of work, and you can use that to impress your employer and at least get a chance at getting interviewed. So this is what you're going to need, but exactly what is the plan of action? Yeah, so this is the plan of action. Very simple. सिर्फ 90 मिनट लगेंगे. So now what I'll ask is कि सबसे पहले, of all the people out there, pick anything that you're excited about. Anything that you're excited about, maybe a hobby, an activity, a sector, anything that you're excited about, that you're passionate about, something that you think you won't get bored. You can, क्या बोलते हैं, type them in your this thing chat box, and I'll make it sort of an engaging and very spontaneous. And I'll tell you, boss, ki how you can actually work on the things that I'm mentioning here. So if you can just type in the chat box anything that you're excited about. And I'll also say ki what was I excited about. When I started this process, right, I was excited about banks. But maybe you guys are not as nerdy as I am. You really have some genuine interests. But if you can type them in the chat box, it'll be great. Okay. Music. Anybody else? Maybe just feel free, yeah. Rock climbing, I don't know, watching movies, reading books, anything that you feel that you're so very interested about that you'll never get bored. Okay, writing, very good. Writing is another thing. Anything that you're very interested about, feel free. Political economy, awesome. Dancing, drawing, coffee, areva, coding, stocks, international affairs, traveling. Wow. Now, all of you have your laptops in front of you. What we'll do is, now that you've identified now, if Ribhav is saying कि मुझे acting पसंद है, he would be willing to, do something about acting, कि he'll never get bored out of it. And I just need that as a starting point. Second thing, what we'll do is we'll find a publicly listed company related to that. Okay, so I'll take सबसे पहले ले लेते हैं music. Maybe listening to music is something that you like. Now what we'll do, we'll find a publicly listed company in that space. I know for a fact कि tips is a publicly listed company for that. अब हम क्या करेंगे, बेसिक प्रोसेस ये रहेगा हमारा कि हम एक ऐसी चीज जिसके बारे में बहुत इंटरेस्टेड है, उससे रिलेटेड हम कोई भी कंपनी फाइंड करेंगे एंड उसके अंदर हम डीप डाइव करेंगे. एज सिंपल एज दैट. एंड नाउ वी स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग आवर प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क. नाउ वी स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग आवर नॉलेज रिपोजिटरी. ऑल ऑफ इट इन अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वे. समथिंग दैट यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट. ठीक है. सो दिस इज अ वेबसाइट दैट आई पर्सनली यूज, screener.in, फ्री. यहाँ पे मैंने टिप्स इंडस्ट्री लिखा. यहाँ पे सारा इंफॉर्मेशन आ जाएगी. इतना डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. इफ यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड how do these things work, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube. Multiple people have numerous videos कि boss, how do we analyze results, ये कैसे करना है, ये कैसे करना है. We need not do that. That's slightly more technical. अभी हम interesting चीज पे बात करेंगे. What we'll do, we'll go at totally at the end. ठीक है. And यहाँ पे you'll see a couple of things. And यहाँ पे you'll see what I've written. Third step की boss, read about that thing that you're excited about through primary resources. Primary sources will be investor presentation, con call, annual report, credit research. इन सबका मतलब क्या? Every quarter, after every 3 months, we have we have companies releasing their results, and वो results वो एक presentation के through publish करते हैं. तो maybe you can read those, you can attend con calls. Con calls are nothing but हर 3 महीने बाद जब भी result आया, management actually goes on a call with analysts, allowing analysts to ask questions. हम वो एक प्राइमरी सोर्स यूज कर सकते हैं. एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स एवरीबॉडी वुड हैव हर्ड ऑफ, एंड क्रेडिट रिसर्च रिपोर्ट्स. इसको अब इंटरेस्टिंग कैसे करेंगे? विल गो हियर, सबसे नीचे यहाँ पे पीपीटी पे क्लिक किया, यहाँ पे अक्टूबर 2022 की मतलब लेटेस्ट क्वार्टर की पीपीटी आ जाएगी, राइट? एंड दीज पीपीटीज आर एक्चुअली मेड वेरी एंगेजिंग बाय ऑल दीज कंपनीज. ठीक है, सो जब आप पढ़ रहे होगे ना, what I want you to do now is actually be inquisitive about what you're reading. Since music is something, let's say you're very very passionate about ना, कि बॉस मुझे म्यूजिक बहुत पसंद है, reading about these companies will actually be very interesting to you. You know, let's just go down यहाँ पे. Investor presentation, as I said, PPT है, 20 पेज की PPT है. आपको 90 मिनट में सिर्फ ये छोटा सा काम करना है. एंड ऑनेस्टली, rather than you scrolling, you know, Insta की reels over and over again, you can do this, and this will be equally engaging because you've chosen a thing that you're very passionate about. If you're interested in music, you will be like, okay, music का business कैसे चलता है? If you don't understand even this, you can simply Google how does, let's say, music business work. ठीक है? And the very first thing you can see here is कि you can maybe read this. जहाँ पे they're saying there's a music creation side. Okay, so there are some creators out there who create this. Then there's a customer facing side, these streaming platforms, Spotify, Resso, Ghana of the worlds, venues and public performances. And then there's the business side, the labels and managers. Okay, then what's the tips? Tips इसमें से क्या है? Tips is basically a label, the middleman. As we go down, okay, okay. So if we see here, यहाँ पे सबसे पहले उन्होंने बता दिया इतने songs release हुए. For a company like Tips, release of new songs is maybe an important business metric. Why is it? अगर वो ज्यादा songs produce कर रहे हैं, उनसे उनका ज्यादा धंधा आएगा. Okay, makes sense. और इतने नॉन फिल्म सॉन्ग्स आए, इतने फिल्म सॉन्ग्स आए, फाइन. फाइनेंशियल ओवरव्यू में वेरी बेसिक थिंग, यू नो व्हाट अ रेवेन्यू इज, यू नो व्हाट एन OP EBITDA. This is a very fancy thing. Do you know what an OP EBITDA is? Okay, maybe you don't. So we'll go here and maybe we'll try to understand कि यहाँ पे what do we mean by OP EBITDA. If you look at, let's say, a P&L of a Tips, यहाँ पे you understand what revenue is. Content cost. Content cost is a very funny thing that आपने बाकी let's say annual reports में, बाकी normal एक study में कभी नहीं देखी होगी. What do we mean by content cost? Google it. Google it. Dive deep. What is content cost? Why is it so high? If let's say company is earning 49 crores, 50 करोड़, उसमें से 17 करोड़ की content cost है. What do we mean by that? Does this mean कि वो content खुद produce कर रहे हैं? Does this mean वो content कहीं से खरीद रहे हैं and then उसको license कर रहे हैं? Understand this. And whenever you're doing this ना, just continuously start making notes. ठीक है? ऊपर जाके मैंने देखा, okay, release of new songs is a very important metric for them. यहाँ पे content cost is a very big portion of the revenue. Do some very basic financial analysis. 17 upon 49, that is around 35%. 35% of the revenue is content cost. Employee benefit is 2 crore. Other expenses is nothing. Content cost is, why is it so huge? Compare this to maybe competitors. यहाँ पे start becoming inquisitive. Revenue में क्या क्या है? Revenue के क्या क्या portion है? You can learn more about that maybe through their financial annual report. वहाँ पे you can go to their annual report and study कि revenue के exactly portion क्या है. Okay, if we go down, यहाँ पे okay इनकी balance sheet आ गई. Some very normal things. If we go down, company overview. अब यहाँ पे you'll start getting interested. यहाँ पे you'll see okay, the catalog that they have is licensed to OTT platforms. अब टिप्स का कैटलॉग कहाँ कहाँ कौन से OTT प्लेटफॉर्म पे है? Try to read this. कहाँ कहाँ पे इनकी प्रेजेंस है? If this is what where they are, इनका कंपेटिटर लेट्स से जो सारेगामा है वो कहाँ कहाँ पे है? Which is better? किसकी मार्केट शेयर ज्यादा है? कोई अगर एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे है और दूसरे पे नहीं है तो ऐसा क्यों है? Try finding these answers. And if you're actually passionate about music, you'll be like, यार why is it कि टिप्स Spotify को अपने लाइसेंस करता है but maybe सारेगामा नहीं कर पाता? Why is it? Is this because of commercial? Is it because maybe Tips की जो catalog है that is huge? Maybe वो बहुत बड़ी है. Maybe there are a lot of songs. They have collection of 29,000 songs. What is it for their competitor? Why is it that इनका इतने ज़्यादा है? If they established in 1988, do they have songs since 1988? या फिर उससे पहले के भी उनके पास songs उन्होंने खरीदे हुए हैं? Then you see Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati and Bhoj. Okay, they are present in vernacular languages as well. Vernacular languages से कितना धंधा आ रहा है? हिंदी से कितना धंधा आ रहा है, इज दिस डाइवर्सिफिकेशन गुड? आई एम डूइंग नथिंग, मैंने पेज खोला, आई हैव स्टार्टेड आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस। यहाँ पे लिखा है कंसिस्टेंट सक्सेस इन क्रिएटिंग एंड एक्वायरिंग हाई क्वालिटी आईपीआर। व्हाट्स एन आईपीआर? आईपी राइट्स, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स। म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में आईपी राइट्स क्या होते हैं? व्हाट डज इट मीन टू ओन एन आईपी राइट? कैन वी लाइसेंस इट? व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय लाइसेंसिंग? स्टार्ट आस्किंग राइट क्वेश्चंस। एंड अभी हमने सिर्फ एक पेज पढ़ा है। इफ यू गो डाउन, ओके, यहाँ पे फिलोसफी आ गई, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा। दे आर जनरेटिंग मल्टीपल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम्स। उनकी म्यूजिक लाइब्रेरी भी है, उनका एक डिजिटली भी अवेलेबल है। कितना अब इनका धंधा डिजिटली आता है, कितना नॉन डिजिटली आता है। दीज आर द लेटेस्ट डील्स दैट हैपेंड। व्हाट इज अ मैड डॉग फिल्म? वहां पे किस टाइप की डील हुई, कितना पैसा दिया, कितना पैसा आया? ओके, दीज गाइस हैव पार्टनर्ड विद धर्मा प्रोडक्शन एज वेल। वहां से कितना पैसा आया, क्यों आया? Try to find these answers. These are broadcast partners. If we go down here, they have written their strategy. You can either produce or purchase. Two strategies. Content को आप produce कर सकते हो, purchase कर सकते हो। जो content cost में आया था, which is cheaper, to produce or to purchase? Again, asking very simple questions, trying to understand कि boss धंधा चल कैसे रहा है। This inquisitiveness is what's very important when it comes to a job in finance. And then you can obviously replicate this across equity research, M&A, investment banking, and whatnot. If you go down, okay, YouTube views की बात आ गई। Go check their YouTube channel. इनके कितने सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं, इनके कंपेटिटर के कितने सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं, इनके अगर व्यूज इतना ग्रो हुआ है, बाकियों का कितना हुआ? How much are they earning just from YouTube? Why are they earning so much? Is YouTube actually that big a deal for them? YouTube से काफी पैसा आता है कि नहीं? Try finding these answers. And where do you find these answers? In the con-call report. Now, con-call report, this is a transcript. Transcript मतलब के जो भी call हुई वो written form में है. And in this call, as you can see, the chairman and MD of the company are present. So these people who started these businesses, जिनको एक म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री के बारे में they've been doing this, I don't know, for decades, वो आपके साथ कॉल पर आते हैं and आपके आंसर्स, आपके क्वेश्चंस आंसर करते हैं. Do you understand how big that deal is? Even if you have a very stupid question, ना, if you attend that call, you can ask that, and management बहुत ही खुशी खुशी आपको उसके आंसर देगी. If you go down, you see, okay, Mr. Kumar Taroni is the chairman and MD. If you go down, okay, यहाँ पे शुरू हो गए, अपने रिजल्ट्स के बारे में बताएंगे, and then he'll ask his maybe CFO to come, कि CFO आके बताओ. Then people started coming in. यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन आंसर शुरू हो गए. The Spotify deal we've done, is it via Self or Warner? Why does it matter? सेल्फ से करी तो ज्यादा अच्छा डील मिली या वार्नर के थ्रू करी तो ज्यादा अच्छी डील मिली? अगेन asking very normal questions. Another thing that you can do is was कि यहाँ पे ना whenever let's say the moderator is introducing ना कि okay, now next question is from Sagar from Phillip Capital. Another thing you can do is okay, Sagar is a real person जो Phillip Capital में काम करते हैं. What's Phillip Capital? Okay, I'll go to LinkedIn and then वहाँ पे मैं Sagar Phillip Capital लिखूंगा. I'll try to find who this person is. This can be a good person who can refer me in Phillip Capital as well. How can I ask this referral? एक second. How can I ask this referral? Maybe I can connect with him. I can connect with him saying, Sagar sir, I was on Tips call. I really love what you're doing. Okay, yeah. Sagar Jethwani. So Sagar Jethwani is a senior manager, equity research in PMS Phillip Capital. What you can do, send him a personalized connect. Ki, hi Sagar sir, I was reading Tips ki con call. I saw you asked a question. I'm also researching. Would love to be part of your network. If that person, if Sagar reads that message, 100% chance he'll accept your connection request and you'll get a reply as well. Because you sent a very personalized message. Again, I'm just being very inquisitive whatever I'm doing. अगर मैंने यहाँ पे सागर का नाम पढ़ा, मैं लिंक्डइन पे जाके उसको देख लिया, मैं उनकी पोस्ट देख सकता हूँ कि उन्होंने और किस किस के बारे में, इन्होंने होटल इंडस्ट्री के बारे में भी लिखा है. मे बी ही नॉट ओनली कवर्स म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री बट ऑल्सो होटल इंडस्ट्री. सो नाउ आई नो अ गाय. अगर मुझे म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री में कुछ भी डाउट है, मे बी आई कैन आस्क सागर. एंड ऑल्सो साथ ही साथ रिमेंबर द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई मेंशन कि whenever you're doing this, you also have to make notes using Feynman technique. Feynman technique abhi batata, but making notes, you're making notes. You can share these notes with Sagar. Sagar sir, मैं research कर रहा था. This is what I understood. You already track this. Please give me your inputs. क्या मेरी observation सही थी, क्या गलत थी? I would love to learn more about it. And then maybe you can ask कि sir, Phillip Capital में, since you see my work, now you are also building your proof of work. You've made these notes. You can publish this on your LinkedIn as well. आप LinkedIn पब्लिश करो, सागर सर को फॉरवर्ड करो. सर मैंने ये बनाया है, आई नो यू ट्रैक दिस, आपके पास बहुत knowledge है, help me, where am I lacking, what can I do better? You build this rapport with all of these people out there. Do this for maybe every other analyst, because all of these analysts are like full-time analysts, and these people will have very similar career to you. Because in the end, equity research is nothing. You trying to understand the company. If Sagar from Phillip Capital is here, maybe इसके आगे we have Ankush Agarwal. Okay, Ankush Agarwal from Search Capital. Again, अंकुश अग्रवाल को भी एक रिक्वेस्ट भेज दो कि बॉस आई वांट टू डू दिस सर, मुझे आई एम लर्निंग अबाउट म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री, आई सॉ दैट यू आस्क्ड, maybe these are the same people who you will find in maybe saregama ki this thing, saregama ki con call. So find these people, continue working on this, and as you see, you continue reading about this, you won't realize आपके 90 मिनट पूरे हो गए. You have made notes, आपके दिन के 90 मिनट पूरे हो गए. The last step of your process would be post it. Posting it is very important, because I'll give you my personal example, right? I was again I participated in an equity research competition. मैंने Asian Paints पे report बनाई, मैंने वो LinkedIn पे publish करी. I also won. I was very happy I won, but मैंने LinkedIn पे post करी कि this is my report, help me improve, help me understand. I got reached out by a fund manager of a PMS handling 1,000 crores. उन्होंने मुझे सामने से रीच आउट किया, आई रियली लाइक द रिपोर्ट, लेट्स गेट ऑन अ कॉल. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस? एक अंडरग्रेड को ऐसे सामने से आया, आई वाज इलेटेड, एंड नाउ दैट फंड मैनेजर इज अ वेरी गुड फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन, एंड नाउ आई एम sort of, he is now using my network to sort of associate himself with Welldesk. You see, I was just at the right position at the right time, doing the right things, and most importantly, posting it. You should be very shameless when it comes to posting. You can post it on your blog. If you, let's say, have a website, मैं अपनी website भी बना रहा हूँ, मैं वहाँ पे भी post करूँगा, but you can post it anywhere. LinkedIn is the best platform that I've seen, because LinkedIn में people mean business, and if you post it on LinkedIn, you will likely attract a lot of attention from like-minded people. In the end, LinkedIn is a place where you can connect with people professionally. It is only after you've connected with them professionally can you ask for a referral, or if not even referral, just leverage their network to maybe connect with other people. वो पहला connect and वो rapport तभी build होगी if you're posting, if that person knows that you're knowledgeable. Even if you're not knowledgeable now, if you're putting the effort, people acknowledge this. And believe me, out of, let's say, 113 people on this call, not more than 20-25 actually post anything. And if you start posting these notes that you're building every day, हर 90 मिनट मैंने काम किया, 10 मिनट में उसको कोलेट किया, एक लिंक्डइन पोस्ट बना दी, अगले दिन फिर से किया, 90 मिनट काम किया, 10 मिनट के लिए कंपाइल किया, एक पोस्ट बना दी. If you're posting regularly, you will attract a lot of attention, and people will start sort of acknowledging your effort and maybe even appreciating you. And then who knows, you don't reach out to anybody else, सामने से आपको आ जाए कि I like your work, let's discuss how we can. So this is very important. This is what worked for me, and this is can work for anybody and everybody. So posting it, and also engage with all these people who you know for a fact कि boss, they are people that I would love to get associated with. जैसे Sagar from Phillip Capital, again, if Sagar sir posts anything, उन्होंने अभी recently उस पर post किया hotel industry पे, read what he has to write. Obviously he is a senior manager in equity research, whatever he's written is valid. पढ़ो, अपना कुछ comment डालो, engage with them, build that rapport. All of this when you're doing, you're not only becoming knowledgeable day by day, you not only are building a proof of work, because कल को if let's say an interviewer asks us कि बॉस आपने काम क्या किया, उनको को मेरी LinkedIn प्रोफाइल देख लो, 30 दिन लगातार मैंने इस इंडस्ट्री पे इस चीज के ऊपर लिखा है, I've got this many engagement, people appreciated this. Or what you can do, compile all the LinkedIn posts and उसको एक proper mega thread बनाओ and upload it on Google Drive as a portfolio link कि this is my research on, let's say, tips or music industry. You have proof of work, you are more knowledgeable, you also have a chance at referral. If you do this consistently for 30 days, the likelihood of you becoming much more employable increases very much. And that is the plan of action. That is the only thing you need to do. It starts with picking something you're excited about. Many people here wrote about, maybe writing, they're excited about writing, or stock market, spirituality, awesome. Singing, again, you can learn how this thing, apna music labels work, dancing, social entrepreneurship, watching a cricket match, understand how IPL works, man. I was so fascinated by IPL. IPL में पैसा कैसे बनता है? As simple as that. Who holds the IPL? Okay, BCCI का यहाँ पे रोल है, sponsors का रोल है, teams का रोल है, match venues का रोल है, कहाँ से पैसा आ रहा है, कहाँ जा रहा है, who's the most valuable franchise, why are they most valuable franchise, where is money coming from to pay these wages, to buy these players, how does auction work? Understand, make notes, write a report, publish. As simple as that. How you replicate it for, ये तो equity research हो गया, right? How do you replicate it for, I don't know, maybe some very niche financial role, that is investment banking or private equity or venture capital? Pick any startup you're excited about. Do you love Zerodha? Do you use Zerodha? How does Zerodha make money? How come Kamath brothers are able to draw 100 crore की salary? The only reason is वो बहुत पैसा बना रहे हैं. क्यों बना रहे हैं? कैसे बना रहे हैं? Delivery तो free है. They make money on intraday and F&O. कैसे बना रहे हैं? How are competitors doing? How come Zerodha has something that others don't? What other products Zerodha has? Research on it. The reason I insisted कि आप publicly listed company ढूंढो, because वहां पर for you to get that information, it's very easy. It's very easy for you to get hold of that information because it's publicly available. ऐसी private companies में it's slightly difficult. Hence, start easy. But then again, if you're really passionate about any startup that you interact with daily now, just go ahead. As simple as that. And yeah, finally, one last thing before I wrap up, right? Choose your battle wisely. So either you can do these finance internships, right? आपके कॉलेज में भी internship fair में एक finance internships आती हैं, where in the name of finance internship, yeah, these guys ask you to open demat account, sell insurance products and whatnot. मैंने भी अपने first year में किया है, because I thought, okay, मेरी profile में एक finance internship का आ जाएगा. But even employers know this is crap. Even you know this is crap, but you're not coming to accept this reality. You just don't want to. It's better you do this 30 days of self work, because now the only reason you were doing that internship was because आपको एक certificate मिलेगा. उस internship की value सिर्फ उस certificate तक सीमित थी. Now you have a plan of action. You can build a proof of work by doing this. You will be way more knowledgeable, honestly, rather than opening demat account. If you're understanding कि boss demat account काम कैसे करता है, CDSL का क्या काम है, BSC का क्या काम है, why are they making a lot of money, what's their stock price right now? If you understand that, na, that is way more valuable than you opening a demat account of your chacha taya mama. Honestly, make this choice, but choose your battle wisely. I did this mistake when I was in my first year, but everybody do their mistakes. Now I'm doing this. I couldn't care less about the profiles that are being offered. So choose your battle very wisely. Thank you. Yeah, that's that. In case you have any questions, feel free to drop them.
Yeah, that was really amazing, Kashish. Like a lot of valuable insights we got. I guess we have dropped the link of a Google form in the chat box in case anyone has questions. You can just fill in the form, and I'll check out if there are some questions. I guess there are.
And also, before you start, Deep, one last thing before people start going off. When you're doing this exercise, right, just have an accountability partner. This is very important, because first 2-3 days you'll be very excited कि हाँ यार, I'm researching about something that I'm very excited about. But then उसके बाद आपका सारा motivation, it will wave off. And honestly, it's not the motivation that keeps people doing things, it's the discipline. A lot of people, including me, we are not disciplined. If we were disciplined, we won't be at the place we are. In a personal life as well, we'll be at a way better position. For us to maintain that discipline, it's important that you have an accountability partner. Stop hanging out with people who don't talk about money, investing, career right now. Well, that is what's very important. Find that purpose and find the people who are really passionate about their purpose. Associate yourself with them. जो gossips वगैरह में involve होते हैं, very menial things, okay, maybe you can do that, but then again, prioritize what matters to you the most. If it's your purpose, you know what you're doing, then it's best you find these accountability partners, hold them accountable for if they do something wrong, ask them to hold you accountable brutally honestly कि boss, यू वेस्टिंग योर टाइम, काम कर ले, फोकस ऑन योर करियर, तुझे ये जॉब चाहिए, गेट दैट जॉब बाय वर्किंग हार्ड, एज सिंपल एज दैट. इस पूरे प्रोसेस में फाइंडिंग दीज अकाउंटेबिलिटी पार्टनर्स इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, सो डू नॉट फॉरगेट दैट स्टेप.
Coming to the questions, I have a question like it's written. Does being a CFA level 1 candidate matter while sitting for interviews?
It definitely does, because again it's a very good hygiene check for interviewers. Interviewers को होगा, okay, I have someone who does not have a CFA level 1, मतलब जो CFA level 1 pursue नहीं कर रहा, somebody who is. Just this one thing actually helps them do a basic check ki boss, this guy is more leaning towards finance, this guy isn't. But then again, this is the only role CFA level 1 candidature makes on your profile. But then again, if you're following a process जो मैंने अभी कहा, where you couldn't care less which college you came from, what degree you're pursuing, if the only thing that mattered is what you're producing, what proof of work you're producing, how value add you are, then it should matter कि तुम CFA level 1 candidate हो, CMT कर रहे हो, CA कर रहे हो, or whatnot. Honestly, holding these degrees does matter in the job, but then again, there's always a way around.
The other question is, how can one learn more about the mergers and acquisition space in a structured manner, just like the POA you shared for equity research?
I'm losing you, Deep.
Uh, how can
Can
one
you
learn
repeat?
more about the mergers and acquisition space in a structured manner? This is the way you shared about equity research. How about mergers and acquisition?
See, again, another thing you can do about, let's say these mergers and acquisitions. The only reason, क्या बोलते हैं, it gets difficult to learn about mergers and acquisition is the same reason I mentioned why you should start with equity research. Why? Because in mergers and acquisitions के बारे में publicly available info is very less. For you to get hold of that info, see, the only reason you can learn about an industry is if you have something to consume, right? If you don't have anything to consume, boss, तुम सीखोगे कैसे? Which is why it becomes very difficult. But there is always a way around. What could be a way around? If you know people maybe in the industry जो आपके साथ ये reports share कर सकते हैं. Again, reports आपको गूगल पर मिल जाएंगी, लेकिन ढूंढना पड़ेगा. You maybe have to follow certain newsletters. Maybe a friend of mine, कुल जिंदल, उनका एक न्यूज़लेटर है, स्टैंडिंग ऑन क्या बोलते हैं, शोल्डर्स ऑफ जायंट, ऐसे करके. ही टॉक्स अ लॉट अबाउट VC फंडिंग्स एंड ऑल. Subscribe to these few newsletters, know what's happening, and then simple Google search. Again, equity research करना इसलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि information बहुत आराम से मिल जाती है. So this is the only difference it makes. For you to learn more about mergers and acquisitions, multiple sell side firms actually release reports कि ये merger and acquisition अगर हुआ, क्यों हुआ, किस लिए हुआ, इसके benefits क्या हैं, इसके synergies क्या हैं. When HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank का merger हुआ, a lot of reports came into the market because it was a publicly available, like two publicly available companies जिनके बारे में हुआ. But same had been the case, maybe two privately listed companies or maybe two very small startups merged or one got acquired by the other, it won't make that much news. जिस वजह से इतना content आपके उसमें नहीं आएगा. Good chunk of that content is very confidential. Hence, for you to get hands of that content becomes very difficult. But you've got to start somewhere, right? So rather than worrying about कि क्रिप्टो या Web3 में ये जो एक्विजिशन हुआ ये मुझे नहीं पता, इससे अच्छा for me to learn mergers and acquisitions, maybe I can start with learning about the acquisition of merger of HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited. As simple as that. Maybe the acquisition of Citibank के जो क्रेडिट कार्ड का डिवीजन था उसको एक्सिस ने एक्वायर कर लिया. क्यों किया, कैसे किया, किस मल्टीपल पे हुआ, हाउ इज दैट हैपनिंग, हाउ इज दैट टर्निंग आउट, व्हाट आर द सिनर्जीज लाइक, कस्टमर्स को क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस होने कर रही है, हैज इट हैड इम्पैक्ट ऑन एक्सेस की प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. फाइन. सो मर्जर्स एंड एक्विजिशन डजंट नेसेसरीली मीन कि आपको प्राइवेट साइड पे या वेंचर कैपिटल साइड पर ही करना है. आप अगर पब्लिकली लिस्टेड में भी थोड़ा सा एफर्ट मारो, maybe you can learn a thing or two about mergers and acquisitions, and then obviously this knowledge is replicable. Once you understand how things work, it doesn't matter if that company or that acquisition is in the banking space or gaming space or healthcare space or whatnot. It doesn't matter. It's a publicly listed company, privately listed company, it's an early stage startup, it's a pre-seed wali company, doesn't matter. All that matters is the basic concepts.
The other question, and again, I guess the coffee person is asking any listed play in the specialty coffee industry. I guess Tata Coffee, Cafe Coffee Day. Anything else, Kashish, you have?
So वही, अरे सिंपल गूगल करो यार, सिंपल कॉफी publicly listed companies. If you know, Tata Consumer Limited का good chunk of profit comes up from coffee. So maybe you can, क्या बोलते, do that. Screener पे जाओ, रुको यार, let me just share my screen and खुद ही दिखा देता हूँ.
And the other person who has asked where we can find information about the companies we are interested, Screener is the place to get
Yeah,
data for free.
Screener is a very good place. देखो Tata Consumer, CCL हो गया. अब what you can also do, you can also maybe research about companies that are not publicly listed. Blue Tokai being one of them. No, Blue Tokai की बहुत सारी chains दिल्ली में है. Even I've been there. Very good place. Blue Tokai coffee बहुत famous भी है. Recently they did a fundraise through Nigent PMS. ठीक है? If you can learn more about it, उसके बारे में information publicly बिल्कुल भी available नहीं होगी. ठीक है? You should not restrict then कि boss publicly information available नहीं है. यहाँ जाओ यार, ये देखो टी एंड कॉफी कंपनी, टाटा कॉफी के बारे में पढ़ो. So everything is there. Just ask the right questions from Google and you'll find it. Yep.
Yeah, two similar questions. How to make a professional report out of the research doing, and explain the Feynman technique of making notes.
See, Feynman technique. I'm so sorry I missed it. So Feynman technique is very simple. So Richard Feynman was a physicist, one of the most renowned physicists in the world. Feynman technique is nothing. Richard Feynman said, "Ki boss, if you're learning about the concept, right, take a sheet of paper, अपने notes बनाओ जो आपको लगता है. Try explaining that to a 5-year-old. If you can't explain the same thing to a 5-year-old, you yourself lack the basic understanding of how things go. If you think there are gaps, identify those gaps, research कि भाई कहाँ पे problem है, क्यों problem है, make those notes again go to a 5-year-old to explain him. So your understanding of that industry, of that active, जो भी आप, your understanding of that thing should be so fundamental that the same can be explained to a 5-year-old. If you can't explain, you yourself do not understand it well enough. As simple as that. And जो दूसरा क्वेश्चन था, right, regarding professional equity research reports, there's nothing called a professional equity research reports. Honestly मैं बताऊं, you just type in, रुक जा, let me just share the screen once again. यहाँ पे मैं कुछ भी लिखूं, ICICI equity research report, ठीक है, और यहाँ पे maybe I get some of these reports, right? Nothing fancy. If you read ना, इनका content is very basic. अरे यार मिलेंगी नहीं अब. But the basic thing here is कि इनका content is very simple. They just sort of put these contents in a very fashionable way. इस color combination में ऐसा chart डाल दिया, ये कर दिया. That's the only thing that matters. This is the reason I said this is something that you can learn on job. ठीक है? You won't even have to learn. Literally, if you get into an equity research job ना, आपको एक template दे दिया जाएगा कि boss ये रहा, सारा information जो collect कर रहे हो वो इस format में डाल दो. For you to copy paste that, not big a deal. But for you to get that content in the first place, that is where you need to work. ठीक है? तो nothing really. Even if you just type your very first, क्या बोलते, on a single doc ना, or even if you, let's say, just type those LinkedIn posts, even that is a good equity research report. So do not worry about that. Do not worry about the format, worry about the content.
One last question we'll take. As you mentioned about proof of work, should we not rely on the secondary sources of information at all and develop own inferences through primary resources? And he's currently pursuing CA, so what subjects should he focus more to pursue career in finance? As through the articleship realized, he's not inclined towards audit and taxation.
Fair enough. So the only reason I said कि primary sources से करो, because what do I mean by primary source? Primary sources in equity research is company itself, right? Con call, company call करवा रही है. Presentation company ने prepare करी. Annual report company ने prepare की. So these are very first primary sources of information. The reason I ask you rely on those is because if you go to a secondary source of information, there you're relying on the subjectivity of the person who prepared that report. You have to, you're going to be like, okay, this is also one of the reasons why, let's say, I don't see a lot of stock analysis videos of some very knowledgeable YouTubers, let's say Rachna Ranade or Pranjal Kamra. The reason I do this is because अगर रचना रानडे ने एक वीडियो डाला है, राइट, उन्होंने उस कंपनी के बारे में 100% रिसर्च की, बट फॉर द सेक ऑफ दैट वीडियो उन्होंने सिर्फ 50% शो किया. शी exercised that subjectivity ki the rest 50% maybe is irrelevant. She might be doing this to the best of your comfort, to the best of your knowledge, but then again she doesn't know what you should be knowing. This is the reason I say never rely on secondary information. Yeah, secondary information mein if that person is really knowledgeable and you trust them blindly, then maybe you can, but I trust nobody. The only truth that I believe is the primary truth. The primary truth is company. अगर company ने कहा वो grow करेगी तो करेगी. I do not want an analyst saying इस वजह से वो grow करेगी, इस वजह से वो नहीं करेगी. Analysis is a separate thing. Analysis is a separate thing. My primary source of information will always be company records, but analysis के लिए maybe I can refer कि how are people viewing this source of information. But I will never use the secondary sources of information as my primary truth. If you do this, you're doing yourself a big harm. Second, about being a CA, even I have a lot of friends जिन्होंने CA किया. Once they started doing articleship, they realized कि okay, maybe they do not want to continue. This is a very personal matter. I myself never did CA because I knew for a fact CA might not make a lot of sense to me, and also very difficult. Very difficult. I don't want to do that. So what you can do right now is, okay, you can continue your articleship, right? But then again, try to make most out of it. And I'll give you an example. Okay? If you're doing, let's say, an audit of a company. My friend is doing audit in sugar sector. He's doing audit of a publicly listed company. He now understands sugar sector better than anyone in my own network, solely because he's actually an auditor in EY, जो एक publicly listed sugar company का वो कर रही है. He understands sugar का पूरा manufacturing process solely because he's an auditor. Use this as a reference point to your best. कि if you are a stat auditor, right? आप in the end audit तो एक company के records ही कर रहे हो ना. वो कौन सी company है? वहां पे आप किस टाइप का ऑडिट कर रहे हो? Maybe you're just doing inventory audit. Okay, maybe this is, I don't know, a construction company जिसका आप inventory audit कर रहे हो. Construction company में since you're already doing this, you have that specific advantage. You understand construction business way better than others. Use that knowledge in the publicly listed space. Find कि बाकी companies में क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, which company is better. Make notes, post it, खत्म. You're building that proof of work. You're getting that knowledge. As far as choosing that specific course goes, don't really emphasize on that a lot. Abhi you're at a place where you're doing CA as well. Just continue doing na. Matlab, what's the harm? If you're also working on something that you're passionate about. If you're like कि boss CA में बहुत pressure है, मैं नहीं कर सकता, then तो just leave it. But then again, it's very, very personal. Just try to make best out of the situation that you already have. That's it.
Thank you very much, Kashish, for answering the questions, I hope. And we'll drop Kashish's LinkedIn ID, so anyone wants to connect, they can connect with him and clarify their doubts or anything. So with this, we wind up this amazing session. Thank you to each one of you for joining and being an incredible audience. A heartiest thanks to speaker Kashish Kapoor for making a time for us and sharing his valuable insights on careers in finance. And I'm sure he must have opened a lot of spaces and a lot of ventures for others who might have not idea about the field. My heartfelt gratitude to our principal, Professor Gyantosh Kumar Jha, who has always been there to cheer us and act as a support system for all our endeavors. Our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Vinita Tuli, for promoting such sessions in the college, along with our convener, Mr. Uttam Kumar, member teachers from FIC, Dr. Apala Naidu and Mr. Shivchandar, and a big thanks to the teacher in charge, Department of Economics, Ranjan Swarnakar, making this session a grand success. A feedback form will be floated in the group and the chat box as well, so you can provide us with your valuable feedback. Thank you very much, Kashish.
Thank you for having me, Deep.